Hello and welcome to Krasnoyarsk, Russia. We're in Siberia, quite far east of Moscow, the capital. In fact, we're exactly 12 time zones from Toronto, Canada, 7 from Glasgow, Scotland. So certainly quite the trip for all teams to get here, but seeing how the locals have embraced the sport and what host the city have turned out to be, it's been nothing but a pleasure coming here. Taking you inside the Crystal Ice Arena for the World Junior Curling Championships 2020. This evening, Russia will play Japan in the women's competition. We'll meet the teams tonight. At lead and skip, Sai Yamamoto. Second, Yuyi Ueno. Third, Eri Ogiwara. And vice and fourth player, Minori Suzuki. For Russia, this evening at lead, Anastasia Mishenka. At second, Irina Rezanova. Third, Vera Tulyakova, and skip, Vlada Rumyantseva. Taking a look at the standing, it's now Korea alone on top with 5 wins. Canada, Denmark and Japan, they follow at 4 and 1. Russia with that 3 wins, 2 losses record. Switzerland follows on 2 wins, and then Latvia, Norway and Sweden all with the single win. Hungary yet to pick up a win so far this week. Of course, all the teams in the competition, all 10 playing this evening on the 5 sheets. Latvia will face off against Hungary, Sweden to play Denmark, then Canada will take on Switzerland. Also Korea looking to stay perfect as they play Norway. Our eyes will be on Japan, Russia, but we'll try and keep you up to date on the scores elsewhere. I'm Sander Rolvang, joined by Rona Howie. Good evening to you.
Good evening, Sander.
Well, it's Russia currently on a 2-game losing streak, and Japan dropping their first game this morning. Both teams looking to bounce back from that, as we see Japan winning last on advantage in the draw shot challenge prior to the game, meaning Russia will start. Had a tough game this morning, is a nice way to put it, playing Sweden. So, having lost 2 games in a row, it'll be very interesting to see how the Russians will cope with this. Certainly have the skill set. It's just about the mental preparations here and try to extract every piece of talent that they have.
Yeah, I think really important for Russia to get off to a good start. First couple of ends, just play the simple shots well, get their confidence back, and have confidence in the ice, because this morning they were really struggling with their draw weights.
Anastasia Mishenka will put up the center guard, so definitely not running scared here. We'll want to get some stones in play early. Lead for Japan, also skip, Sai Yamamoto. Bit of an unusual setup for a curling team to have the skip play lead, but I do remember a team pretty successful at it. The Swedish team of Margareta Sigfridsson making the Olympic final in Sochi back in 2014. So it's possible. Is there any special reason why you would have that setup?
It's just what works best for the team. We see different lineups. The second player could take the head, or the third player, you know, it's whatever works best for the team and their dynamic. And sometimes you'll get a player who's really good at reading the ice, but they just don't have the confidence in playing the last stones. They would rather leave that to somebody else.
So it could just be down to individual skill sets. We might have someone who's really good at throwing the 4 stones, but also a tremendous sweeper. But you might have a great lead player who's got a superb tactical mind for the game.
Very much so, yes. 4 very different roles in the team. So it's what's best for your own team. There's no right or wrong.
This one hanging for Japan, so Suzuki calling on the sweepers to rub off the yellows, and They will roll over. My two corner guards. So, good awareness to call on the sweepers there and try and get something out of that shot. That was a bit overthrown. We take a look at second for Russia, Irina Rizanova. Really struggled with draw weight against Sweden this morning. Will be important for her to come off to a good start here. Surprised both sweepers weren't going all the way there. Yishenka is just hanging back there. So quite a bit of clutter already forming.
Watching this team already this week, these young Japanese girls are so full of energy, always smiling, and looking as though they're really enjoying themselves out there. Trying to remove two of the guards. Ends up nosing it, so that is a centre guard that Russia can now use. Trying to come through the gap. No problem. It's all about the weight.
Pretty good draw there. That's the kind of shot that's gonna put a smile on her face. We didn't see that all game this morning.
No, there was a wry smile there, as if to say, that's how you do it.
Yuji Ueno will clear it up here. Pretty good. Does tidy it up. Fully opens one side of the sheet.
Just constant chitter-chatter between the Japanese girls. Always looking for feedback.
Vera Tulyakova. And last year in juniors would surely like to pick up another gold medal before, I guess retiring would be the wrong word perhaps, but moving on to women's play. Of course, the Russians, reigning world champions, more or less the same lineup. Does slide a bit deep. Looks like Japan will be happy to try and double the yellows out. Eri Ogihara. And well spelled them both.
Really nice shot.
Lots of energy on this Japanese side, something we're pretty used to seeing from Japanese teams. A lot of smiling, laughing, energy. Is that something that could be hard to play against?
It can be, but Russia just have to really focus on their own performance and not worry really about what the opposition are doing. Well, Vera's found her draw weight in this game in the first end, 2 in the forefoot. She would have loved one of them in the last game today. She just struggled to find the rings at all earlier on. So a great start for her.
Bringing the weight down here. Would quite like to remove the elbow, but also keep the shooter in the house. Not leave Russia. Have that free draw around the guard again. Just going to rub on the guard this time. Surely the better miss. Wouldn't want to go past everything. Does open up the elbow.
Либо сюда вести, либо карт вести.
Просто, а если давай сюда, но правда они могут ролл поймать. Может быть, гард попробовать? Или ты боишься, что... Ну просто если это будет переваливать, то мы можем уже его в дом затаскивать.
Ну окей, давай.
В принципе, даже если вот так привезешь, не страшно. В дом?
Нет, давай гард.
So that counter's just back tee. They're discussing whether to just put up the guard or bring it into the just into front ring.
Могут попробовать сыграть ролл, и мы никак его не достанем.
Смотри, я Тилайн кидала 2 с плюсом у меня было. Если сейчас 2 без плюса, то будет
Scared if they leave it too short, then Japan would come around and freeze. Tap
Вер, давай
back.
чуть-чуть туда. Еще.
Нолик. Сам.
Куда идешь?
Lada, Rumyantseva
Это фриз. Делайте фриз тогда. Делаем фриз.
also had a game to forget this morning. Of course, didn't get too much help from her teammates either.
Сбоку.
Will come up deep here, so trying to lock it on right on the nose, but we'll leave it on an angle. A little bit of separation. We've already seen one double from Japan in this end. We might just see another one here.
Давай посмотрим, как тут ходит.
Fourth player and vice skip for Japan, Minori Suzuki.
Really nice double.
あ、ごめん、全然メットコール違うわ。ナイスよ、ナイスコール。エリ何秒つってた？8.11。8.1？エリ？私全然9半って言っちゃった。ちょっとないよって。でも8.1までとは思わなかったな。
So lifting the double keeps the blank alive now for Japan.
Yes.
Control. Тут прямовато ходит.
Trying to get the roll behind cover. But over curled.
Спасибо.
So no chance of a 2 here for Japan at the first end. Just quite happy to go for the blank.
Там хорошо было.
Да, отлично было.
Просто шотки, наверное, меньше.
But Russia must be happy with the way they've started this first end.
Ну просто мы, так как мы рассчитывали на ролл, то мало было.
Made a lot more shots than they did at the end of the game today. So hopefully they've binned that performance and brought out their A game tonight.
Last on, first end for Japan. Full make appeal. So blank end here. No score after one end of play, Japan, Russia.
Nice call, nice show. Nice.
У Веры чуть шире 8, постановку чуть больше 8, у Иры тоже вот так вот от 8, то есть ближе к 9. Шестерка вот это вот. Да. Навалит больше. А мы куда сейчас? Гард? Может, чуть поменьше?
Камень валит!
Он навалит на камень ровно примерно. Чуть побольше валит. Там прям по центру дорожки какой-то снежок лежит. Можете его потереть потом? Похож на 5-й, 6-й. Подожди тогда. 6-й будет.
Сильно!
6-й сам. Подожди,
Anastasia Mishenka.
Нет, надо, чтобы чуть
Throwing the first stone for Russia. They put up a center guard in the first end. Actually end up with 5 guards at the start of that first end. Still a blank on the scoreboard. Japan seems to be drawing to the wing again. Certainly a defensive approach here. It's clear Japan's game plan is just to keep it open, maybe employ the hitting game. Certainly played some good hits in that first end, maybe playing to their strengths.
They've played 5 games now, so this is where the interaction from the coach is looking at, you know, what have been their strengths in those 5 games, and if their takeout game is much stronger than their drawing game, then play to your strengths. Or even to certain players' strengths. There may be players there that are performing better with their draws or their hits.
You see the 5-stone free guard zone is in play, as well as the thinking time for the teams. 38 minutes to play the game. 160-second timeout. Teams will have to play a minimum of 6 ends. I'm pretty sure we will see at least 6 ends. The game is scheduled for 10, so. With that free guard zone, Japan, of course, not allowed to remove the guard from play. So playing less weight, trying to essentially make a split, what we would call a tick shot or a soft peel. Goes past the guard though, so plan B onto the shot stone. We'll remove it and roll out of play.
Yeah, the Russian stone was well back, not causing much danger for Japan. They could have come round at a back 8 weight, and even if they'd ticked the guard, that was plan B. So Russia can now actually get a better draw around the guard to top 4.
Супер идет! Можно Настя! Настя! Задирай! Да! До конца!
Looking really good.
Да!
Great weight, great line.
Супер!
Я просто
Another smile.
значительно меньше кидала.
Seems to be much more on form this evening. It was pretty tough to see her play this morning.
But as we say, the best thing to raise your confidence is good performance.
Slight mistake from Japan here. Yuyi Ueno not able to peel the guard. Leaves the shooter. In retrospect, could have called off the sweepers and got the run back. Gets half around that center guard. Maybe overcurls a tad. I think it might have just been a guard to the call. And then seeing how it started to curl, thought to maybe bring it in for a second shot. Just couldn't get there.
Still in the way though for Japan. Eyeing up the angles here for the run back. Decided just to put a barrier weight, bumper weight, and tap the shot back. Could even play a back ring weight at it. They don't need to be too heavy here.
Well, when they wrecked on the guard in the first end, chasing a stone in behind, that was the correct way to miss. This is the wrong way to miss. Really would have been much better off catching really anything there, either yellow or even the red guard.
But even a back ring or a hack weight there, they would have more to play with than throwing the bigger weight.
Russia will play the hit on the red. Would you ever consider drawing or guarding?
Yeah, they could have put up another center guard there and made it really difficult for Japan. They would have had to clear. The one, I can see what Russia were thinking. It was lying second shot. But a guard would have caused more problems for Japan at that stage. So now the run back. Japan need to make contact. Something in the house. And they don't. They peel their own guard off.
Russia now will get the chance to throw a guard. Potentially set up for a steal here. That shot stone right on the button, very hard to, or if not impossible, to outdraw. Japan's going to have to move some yellows here, open up that scoring area. As we see the shot stone actually covering the pin. But coming a bit close here to the rings, Russia. Should be pretty straightforward to peel off the top two yellows. We see Andrei Drostov, coach for Russia, probably having to act more as a psychologist after this morning's game. As we see Japan Not really doing a whole lot here.
Yep, that one over curled.
Nice score. Nice.
The centre is still blocked. Russia put up another guard. It's going to be very difficult for Japan to get in there.
Хотя это будет вот так. А если я поставлю гард, то она может просто фриз привести или фриз.
Coach for Japan,
Ну да, я потом просто
Mitsuki
закрою.
Sato.
Да, давай гард. Ты сейчас с 8 везла. Мне кажется, может быть... Оставь.
Думаю, она может спокойно делать 2. Своим плюсом. Какой гард хочешь?
Гард везем.
А?
Гард.
2? Примерно так.
Делаю 4.
Да. Я думаю,
Можешь
ну, если
4
ты будешь
сделать?
плюсик такой делать, ну, не
Все, ладно,
просто-
сделаю поощрение.
Да, со своим плюсом.
Не делай плюс.
So a guard here would make it very difficult for Japan. Russia don't want to come too far in and leave an easy hit.
Оставьте.
Ничего.
Только линия.
Можно вот сюда?
Нет, не трогать.
Туда не будет, нет.
Не трогать.
Уже нет.
Молодец.
Yeah, really nice.
Много паники сейчас было.
Не 12. Молодец.
Что вот это такое?
Я покрути. 8? 8で、ほぼ、芯かな。8。
Japan looking to raise the red. Yellow onto yellow. Oh, misses the two behind. Doesn't really help her much. Hasn't left a great angle in those reds now.
ナイス。
Unlucky, so close.
芯よりちょっとなんかに当たって。
And like you say, those reds just staggered. You can't really run them in.
だってさ、こっち取ったってことは
So that side blocked off. Now Russia's going to take away the other.
Чуть-чуть больше.
ドロー練習しといた方がいい。
Russia could virtually bring a third counter in
That'd be
to
tempting.
just 12 foot round that top yellow that she's just played.
Скажи мне тоже еще.
And Japan are in a lot of trouble.
Если я увижу, что...
Если не надо, ничего не говори.
Really could just come top 4 as well here. Very hard to outdraw.
Yeah, I think it's one of these ones. If the line's really good and it's going to bury, bring it as far as you can.
Подождите, ждите.
I think if this stays open top 12, Japan's probably hitting.
Сим! Да!
Is starting to wrap around the guard, so they are going to bring it further in to the top 4. I think that's a really good spot for it from Rumantseva. That's exactly where I wanted that draw.
Yeah, really well played, well judged.
Спасибо. Сейчас вообще это второй на столбку сыграем, мне кажется.
Мишта, этого гарда сближенного. Ира, молодец. Быстро схватила.
こっち曲がるかな。
So Japan trying to draw the side of the 4 foot. Not an easy draw here.
2半3にする？ 4.2半から3ぐらい。そうだね。
It's almost like the draw buried too much for Russia. Leaves the side of the forfeit. Last stone, second end, no score so far. We will have one here. Russia lying 3. It's a draw to the forfeit to try and hold Russia to just the 1. For Minori Suzuki, no sweeping on this so far. Will it dig in though? It's starting to dig in. It is coming down. It will sit back 4. Is it good enough? Not quite to hold Russia to 1, but holds them to 2. Really good effort. Really close to the best you could do there. Just 2 inches too far. Russia take a 2-point lead after 2 ends of play in the Crystal Ice Arena this evening.
Надо было привести карт. Мне надо было привести карт. И это было бы уже
Потому что мы им оставляли его как пропуск входа.
Да, да.
Похож на 4. Запада. Хорошо. Можно подождать. Надо будет садиться, уже садиться. Спи, это уже карт. Очень сел.
Все, оставьте тогда карт, оставьте.
Оставь тогда его. Блин, он как будто наехал на что-то. Резко.
Ничего страшного,
It's a much better start for Russia this evening as they play Japan.
Да, я видела. Молодец.
Stealing 2 in the second end.
Его либо вообще надо не отпускать, не поднимать.
Perhaps a few dubious calls from Japan. Really seemed to just hit everything in the first 2 ends. In fact, except for their lead, that draw against 3 was the first draw Japan's played. So the second, third, and skips only played hits for 2 ends. Minori Suzuki pretty close on the draw, however. So maybe you want to see them employ the drawing game a bit more, especially now that they're 2 down. Still have the hammer.
Чуть-чуть за! Силань, будет вес! Будет вес! Раздели, Бразиль! Легче, легче!
Пока очень много, можно оставить начало. Пошел валить! Вали, 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 супер идет! Можно, свип! Мне кажется, щетка широкая, поэтому он пошел.
По прямой стороне пошел!
So here Japan have got their corner up. It's an opportunity when Russia aren't really back in the forefoot. It's a chance to just get one round your corner now. Try and set up the opportunity for 2. Oh, chosen to try and get the hit and roll here. So by rolling out, it gives Russia a chance to get a better one in behind cover. Sweeper's working this really hard for line. Just catches the top one. So now Japan need to come around cover.
Elsewhere, we see Latvia leading Hungary by 1 shot. Sweden up 1-0 on Denmark. Switzerland with a 2-point lead on Canada. Also Korea tied up against Norway. And now we will see a draw from Japan, but not coming around the corner guard, coming around the center. In my mind, Rona, if you put up a corner guard, you might as well try and use it.
Absolutely. That's what they've put it there for. Them coming around the centre is just bringing the play into the centre, which is not what they want.
Yeah, and even if
got the hammer.
Even if you make it perfect here, Russia has a pretty short run on the centre guard. And of course now just slipping behind T, you might see Russia just put one right on top. And if they do, then Japan's in all kinds of trouble. They're playing pretty consistent on both takeouts and draws. They're 74% for the week on both draws and takeouts, so the stats doesn't really reflect that they're better at a hitting game necessarily. So no reason why they shouldn't be drawing. To put it in perspective, that's just 1% behind Korea at the top of the table, playing 75% for draws this week. So might be something to consider. Then again, they've won 4 games.
Yep, it's wins on the board that count. Come the end of the week, both these teams will be keen to be playing in the games later on in the week.
Got off to a flying start against Canada in the first draw. The only game Canada's lost so far. Nice take here though. Comes up well heavy.
Yeah, just wanted to corner freeze the yellow. Oh, still smiling.
Always good teamwork. Of course, you'd think they'd be looking up at teams like Satsuki Fujisawa or now former team Yosuke Morozumi and his foursome making it to the Olympics. That's what we're used to seeing from the Japanese team. Constant communication and really high morale, even when losing.
Suzuki Fujisawa is so good at that aggressive game. Ah, lovely shot there.
And that's what we were saying. We're quite used to seeing the Japanese teams, if anything, be too aggressive. And so far this evening, this young side has played a lot of hits and not really taking much risk. And when they have tried to take risks, they've not necessarily made the right call. And now they are in trouble. All because they came around that center guard, really.
This is definitely a good debrief point for their coach after the game to look at the situation and talk through the options and why coming around your corner at that stage was a good call.
Take a better call here, though. Looking to double peel the guards. Japan, and they are lying shot stone. So if Russia continues to guard, they'll score their one. And if Russia wants to make a play on those stones. they'll leave everything in the open for Japan. Doesn't quite get the perfect double here.
Гордец. У тебя сейчас 0 был? Можешь 2 попробовать сделать. Надо вес. Я плюс. Юра! О, можно подождать! Не надо! Можно.
Just want to replace the centre line guard.
Супер.
Nicely done.
Я подумала, на самом деле, что не хватит, потому что у тебя плюс поменьше, чем у нас. Ну, я просто вниз. Спасибо.
So open things up again. Russia, but just quite happy to replace the guard there. In the centre line, make it as difficult as possible for Japan. This Japanese side are very young, 17 and 18. So they've got a good few years in juniors ahead of them. This is all a big learning curve for them.
Шестой, пятый! Шестой будет! Тогда ждем. Линия пока есть. Там будет вес. Линия супер! Похож на 12. 12, да. Нет, не сделаем вверх, приз не сделаем. Шестой. Ничего. Шестой. Ничего. Попробуй куситу. Нет. Нет, не трогать.
Another good guard from Russia, making things very difficult for Japan.
Через зеркало достать да, мне кажется, я пожестче просто делала. どうだろう、こっち滑るかな。前ならどのくらい前でいいのかなって感じかな。今ワン撮ってるからさ、黄色の前に画像でいいかなって思う。こっち方？なるべくこっち側に。3半で4秒。あ、じゃあ 4.4。
Japan quite happy to guard here so that Russia can't make the play. However, I'm not too sure how they're going to get in for two.
Nice.
Very tempting to come down and just nudge the yellows for Russia. Somehow.
Можно попробовать весом T-line.
Yeah, Russia also happy to give up a one here. But it's so tempting when you just need to nudge that yellow 2 inches.
What you don't want to do is just rub off, leave an in off the shooter though. You can make it easier for Japan to score there too.
В принципе, да, их гард тут останется.
Или это опасно?
Я вот думаю, если мы... Вот по-хорошему тут куда-нибудь
Все, давай попробуем.
Этот... А?
Вот это. Ну, там его очень мало видно.
Можно попробовать, ладно.
Но надо 8 за. Потому что иначе мы его не толкнем.
Good angle, the Yellowstone in.
Хотя бы 4 за, если сделаешь, то
Top
мы
12.
Да, я думаю, мы можем разогнать.
The hole there. Don't have to play big weight at it. Just tap it on an angle. Just get that tiny bump they need. They will attempt to do that on the in-turn draw.
Приветствую. 4 фута! Вау! 4 фута! Сип! Сип! Да-да-да-да-да-да-да-да!
This one's gone.
Да-да-да. Нормально.
Well, any chance for Japan to get in for two? I'm not certain.
Yeah, need a helicopter for that, I think.
じゃあ押しちゃったらごめんね。いや押すのはダメだよ。
一半
外に出る分にはいい。
いちいち半。
You can't afford to come in and rub that yellow at all.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's really worth trying.
一応2取ることを狙うけど、
無理はし
でも
ない。
遅めできるから伸ばして。
一半に
多分エリちゃん。
一応結構幅
Certainly being forced to play some key draws
1号から2ぐらい。
the last two
もう
ends.
ちょっと詰めてもいいんじゃない？
If that was Russia right now, I'd be happy seeing her play the draw.
Absolutely.
Not even sure if it's there. Certainly just seems more likely to nudge the yellows. But last stone, second end, third end rather, on its way.
あるのはもうだよ。エリ団結。
Starting over curl. So what do they do with it?
This could be disaster. Oh, so close.
Oh well. There will be one for Japan after 3 ends played. Japan on the scoreboard, but Russia lead 2-1.
うちら先行だよ。
さいちゃん、
うちら先行だよ。
こっちでやりたい。Непонятно.
ね、8は絶対ダメだね。
絶対ダメ。
ちゃっちゃかやろ。
同じ？
2、2半でいいかな。2半3だ。
いいよ。
4、4、4。いいよ。伸びそうなんで。いいよ、いいよ。4、5、4、4。いいよ、前で止まりそう。ちょっと曲がりそう。ちょっとね、深い。
前で止まりながら止めたいよ。
エリクリーン。
ちょっと曲がりすぎそう。
3痛くないよ。3で止まるよ。
ボディよ、ボディよ。
ナイス。結構伸びたね。15.9。
The fourth end is underway. Russia, Sweden, and this World Junior Curling Championships 2020 round-robin game. It's the 6th session for the women's competition, 12th altogether, seeing the men playing same championship, same week, same venue. First World Junior Championships took place in, I believe, East York, former municipality of Toronto, in 1975, and the first one for the women in 1988. Was that in Chamonix?
It was indeed.
And that year the boys played in Füssen, so to start off with, separate championships, but they've merged, and successfully so.
Nice come around, centre guard. Good setup from Japan.
Speaking of history, Japan has never won the World Juniors. The women have come close to finals. Both Akiko Kato, back-to-back, 98 and 99, losing the finals. And the most recent medal was back in 2013 in Sochi. Sayaka Yoshimura skipping Japan to a bronze. Looking pretty good this week, this young team. Well, like you said earlier in the broadcast, even if they don't necessarily win this time around, they're still young and have a few years left to perfect their skills. Yuji Ueno. Just going to rub on the corner guard.
And we see that with the Asian teams, that they spend so much time on ice, repetitive practice, that technically they're very sound, but it just takes them longer to get the tactical side of the game, and the best way to get that is from experience. So for this young team, you know, they can play the shots, but it's probably more of a learning curve for them right now as to when to call the right shot. As we've seen, they've played a lot of hits, quite defensive at the beginning of this game. And that all comes with experience, and that's why they're here with a coach, and they're going to learn, and they'll come back even stronger.
Another thing I've seen is some of these younger athletes, you know, they just really love curling, so they'll watch tons of TV games and maybe learn a lot from that. But I've also seen young athletes who won't necessarily be that interested in watching other games, who just enjoy playing. Do you think it's important to submerge yourself in the curling world and just be a sponge, watch curling, talk to curlers?
Yeah, it's always good, and I'd say the youngsters are like sponges. They do like to soak in information. It's great as a coach when you're coaching juniors, and they do just take on board absolutely everything you say. And I think it's always good to learn from watching, you know, big slams in Canada, and learn how the seniors in the game are calling it, how they build up ends, and especially with the new 5-rock rule, how best do you play that? Where do you put your second, your third stones of the end?
Well, if I was a young curler, I would most certainly tune in to listen to the great Rona Howie and her curling expertise.
You would never have listened to me, Xander, if I coached you.
That might be true. Probably just because I would probably think that I knew everything myself, even though I don't.
That's also an important thing for youngsters, that they are coachable. They don't think they know everything and don't listen.
I think that depends, though. He must have run into some bad seeds.
Yeah, you've got to have that mutual respect, haven't you? And coaches have to build trust and build respect with the athletes, and that takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. Also a great skill set for the coaches is being able to coach every member of the team, because everybody's different and everybody has different requirements. So as a coach, how can you get the best out of every single member?
Подсаживаться вряд ли останется, может быть.
Ты ж такой же вес-то вылет. Да что такое-то?
This one just slipping a bit deep.
Всё.
Bit of a flashback to this morning for Russia. Had a lot of draws through the house. Speaking of development, is it also important to take responsibility for your own development in terms of trying to be aware what you need to do better and be asking questions, not necessarily just following everything you're told?
Yeah, definitely. The self-awareness of every player is so important.
If you have a young player come up to you and say, I really want to work on, you know, a specific part of their play, that's be a good trait for a player.
Definitely.
To be able to recognize what they need to work on themselves instead of just being told.
Yeah, that's a really good skill to have.
Без плюса, мне кажется, это надо.
6 футов. И не очень надо, Свив.
Вес будет, держи, Настя. Будет вес. Будет.
So important in training sessions to make sure that the players are challenged and they are trying to improve in all areas, and that every practice is meaningful. You don't want players just going on throwing stones and not having a meaning to their practice.
ちょっとだけなら見えてる。
9ぐらいで下げときたいは下げときたいけどね。まあでも早いより遅くても。
でもシューターそんな開きたくないよね。
一応
So Russia line 2, they have last stone here.
幅大丈夫、まだ足んない。幅狭くないかい。ちょっと押したい。今エリの0けど弱めでいく。
You can only really see the edge of this yellow stone.
Yeah, I think it'd be hard to kill this yellow. Maybe just trying to tap it back. Come as close to nose as possible. Hanging. Falling on Nueno. Try and carve it in. They will tap it in behind the tee line. Not too bad there. Could tempt Russia to play the hit on the red, and if they don't make the roll, now we've opened the draw to come down and freeze that yellow stone. They just tap back.
Yeah, our weight was good for tapping back, just didn't curl as much as she had hoped.
Потому что девочки, получается, мою дроху держали, и она держалась очень хорошо.
I think they've done pretty well there. But Russia just knows they can play that draw, play that freeze, and take away the end completely. And if Russia rolls too far, it's the same, really. Needs to make this one count here. Really just needs to roll anything from a few inches inside to fully buried. Calling the sweepers right off here. They will know, so now it'll be interesting to see if Japan will ever dare just play in the draw. So tempting to play a hit when you're lying 3 against, but they called the draw right away. So, calling a good game here at the end. Tapping that stone back. Tempting Russia to go after the open red. And they've left themselves a weight in And if they can execute here, he might even steal.
Yeah, real key shot here for Japan. 2 ends ago coming down here. So a really good attempt.
Yeah, should know the line and wait. Hanging for the moment. Roll heavy. Do they need to rub off the yellow here, top 8? I think they do. Will they get a rub? Yes, they do. And it's going to spin onto the button in behind cover. Wow. Certainly got away with that one.
Yeah, and good awareness. Sweepers calling the weight and just for line, making sure they get that rub.
Very well communicated. And they knew they weren't going to be able to draw it there by itself. Seeing that they needed that rub.
And that's when Russia now wish they hadn't left that one for them to do that.
Нет, отскок не хочу. Можно вот так попробовать. Мне вот сюда можно попасть.
Of course, Russia could have just played a draw to lie to, but very tempting.
Да.
Блин, ну тут просто он упрется в
They would
это.
have
Не
made the rule.
упрется. Если ты попадешь
Would have
вот
put Japan
сюда,
in
то есть
huge
вот
trouble.
так, он не упрется. Вот сюда попасть.
С этим может быть?
Нет, хочу с этим сильно.
Но он есть, но сложный.
So coming off their own yellow?
Yeah.
Пробуем какой-то
Or
невероятный бросок.
Maybe 2?
Definitely the way
Да.
to get it. Yeah, because the yellow they're going to hit is going to be removed. The yellow to the side of the red will be removed. So they
Pierre,
hope to keep the
поставь чуть-чуть
shooter
туда.
and the one top 12.
Or just even just top the red, perhaps. Possible. Last stone, not an easy one. Skinny off their own yellow onto the red shot zone here. Essentially a redirect, and they will get the redirect, just not enough. And will jam the red. It hangs around for a steal. Wow, that was really close. Really did deserve better with that effort. But Japan scores. So tied game after 4.
Хорошо, да, сделала?
Да.
Sometimes I really wish I spoke Japanese. They seem to have quite a good time out there. Just wondering what's so funny.
They might be talking about where they're going for dinner this evening. It might not actually all be curling related.
И не будет. Будет. Да.
No, that's one thing about the Japanese team, they're so focused on the ice.
Давай.
100% concentration, they give it their all.
Ты просто остановилась.
Да.
Had Japan in lots of trouble there, Russia. In the fourth end, 2 great shots by fourth player Minori Suzuki. Really got them out of it. Slightly fortunate on the redirect on the draw, but really took the end away from Russia, as they were looking to maybe score a 3 there, but instead tied game. Good setup by Sai Yamamoto. Kalotka, she says, points to the hack. You have learned this, Rona?
I have indeed. I've been well educated. What's today's word that I have to learn? Haven't had one for today.
We'll have to listen for it. I believe da, you know already.
Yeah, we hear that one a lot. So, doesn't remove that from play. Chance now for Japan to get a second one round. Very well swept. So Russia trying to come around their corner guard here.
That's your word, Rona?
What's my word?
Nichiwa.
What does that mean?
Nothing. Literally means nothing. So you'll hear that.
That's not a very useful word for me, Rosander.
Well, when they call the sweeping, when they call off the sweepers, they'll often say Nichiwo, as in nothing, don't touch it. Or patnyat, which is lift the brooms. By the end of the week, Rona, you can skip a Russian curling team.
As long as nothing for sweeping and play hack weights, we'll be all right. So Japan just trying to follow here, but much wider line. They're actually going to rub their own.
Wow.
And redirect into the side one.
Oh no.
Definitely plan B there.
Well, we've seen that a few times today, Japan. And they can't help themselves in terms of laughing. That must be a little frustrating if you're Russia, honestly. That's usually when you turn around to your opponent and apologize, really.
Yes, you get embarrassed and you're saying, oh, sorry. But in curling, you need a few rubs here and there.
It's not like snooker where you have to call the shot beforehand. But a bit of a gentleman thing to apologize when you're very, very lucky. Хорош. That's the word we learned yesterday. Here's Joe Fritz, Deputy Chief Ice Technician Him and Mark Callan working alongside each other, providing the players with some excellent ice conditions this week. It really is like a mini Olympics out there this evening, this week. Fantastic venue. World-class ice. I mean, it's the best kind of preparation for juniors you could think of, you can ask for. So obviously now if they make that step and get to a World Women's Championship or Olympic Games, they'll have this experience with them. And it won't be as scary coming into a big venue with lots of people, security, big crowds. I assume that's a big part of why we have the World Junior Championships.
They're preparing them, ready to compete on the world stage and Olympic stage in the future.
A little heavy on the draw again from Japan, and this time didn't have any stones to come off of.
Можно вот так сделать. Давай сюда, Ром.
Japan line 1, and there we see Mark Callan, chief ice technician.
Подойди сюда.
Looking at his watch. He's either timing the ice or he's saying, is it nearly home time yet? It's been a long day.
I don't want to think about when Mark Callan made it to the arena this morning.
Но тогда мы можем их пока что отвлечь и ударить. Просто потом, получается, на каком уровне броске ты хочешь избавляться от этого. Если у меня получается, то мы переводим игру за центр. И вот мой камень здесь остается.
Просто я вообще не вот так хочу делать. Я хочу сделать один ближе. Потому что если я делаю вот так, то у нас будет один ближе в центре, этот пойдет сюда, и этот пойдет сюда. То есть вот так вот я вообще не рассматриваю.
Russia potentially facing two Japanese counters here, but their yellow's in a really good position.
И по весу какой-нибудь такой колодка вверх.
Andrei Rostov having a look up at the big screen, have a look at the angles only to see himself seconds later.
Если что, вот тот уберем.
So helpful for the coaches to have the game on the big screen once in a while. Sitting in the home end, it's sometimes hard to actually see what's going on in the away end.
Вообще ничего нельзя. Настя.
Tuliakova.
Можно Юра, свип. Оу. Настя.
It's all hit and roll. Inbound cover.
What Japan need to watch here, that that yellow run onto the red is very easy for Russia, and if they put this at an angle, quite a few reds could go.
Big sweep here, trying to carry this past the guards. Double over curl, and that's a pretty big problem as well. We'll probably see Russia now play that yellow-red.
Такой же вес, как сейчас подойдет.
Надо чуть больше, наверное.
Это был хак плюс такой.
Чуть-чуть побольше надо.
Да.
Just play a back ring even at this. You can lie 3, even try and roll your shooter in behind the center cover.
Big shot here would put tons of pressure on Japan. Tiny bit off and on here, must be close. from Tuliakova.
Ничего. Настя.
Or have they overcooked it? I think they have. Wow. On the sweep early. No need for it. Didn't seem that heavy either. They were calling hack weight.
Yeah, it was a bit of a panic sweep early on.
Прости.
Let off for Japan. I think there might be second shot here, so instead of drawing, you could just actually hit the shot stone and lie to.
ここまで来るならね。後ろのジャムはどうだい？後ろはないよ。じゃあ黄色でなんかみたいな。いや大丈夫。大丈夫。はいよ。10でいい？はいよ。ここ曲が
I'm
る
pointing at the double, not sure if that's the call or just
曲がるかもだね。
the tolerance.
最初暖気するね。
Yeah, that'll be their plan B.
外ローン
Yeah.
何当てないように。
Stay all high of line to make that double. So, I think you want to play this lie shot. Try and lie to. Minori Suzuki. Well played the nose hit here. Japan lied 2. So instead of Russia lying 3 or 4, one mistake, and Japan is lying 2. So really that end seemingly spoiled for Team Russia. Had a great setup in the previous end too. Didn't get the payoff.
Опасно. Мне нравится
Could be very frustrating.
Ну, да, она полезет вести. Мне нравится просто, может,
Still a couple of shots left here though.
Можно побольше.
Yeah, a chance to come off the inside here and get in behind
Нет,
cover.
нет, стой нельзя. Давай
Давай,
попробуем в
если
эту
он не
сторону.
будет даваливать, то мы будем
Try and
делать
set up a
туда-сюда.
two.
Контрол какой-нибудь такой.
Мне нравится лайт-контрол.
Да, да.
Блин, у меня там антислайдер.
Ролл в центр. Light control. Word плюс.
Хорошо. Это борт! Легче, легче! Борт плюс! Легко! Отличный вес! Тип!
Тип! Тип! Тип!
Стой! Стой!
Молодец!
Just curves too much. So Japan can't afford to roll out here because that tap back on the yellow is still there to score 2. So they want to keep the shooter in play to force Russia to a 1. No problem.
ごめんなさい。ナイス。ナイス。ナイス。ナイス。ナイスコール。ナイス。ナイス。ごめん、きっと早い。ナイス。練習。測れてないわ。
Просто 4 фута везет. Мне кажется, с такой щеткой, если я сделаю хороший вес, то не давали.
А мне
Вот,
кажется,
если
наоборот,
переваливали.
да.
Last stone, fifth end. Important to make this one here for Russia. You will feel like they've been the better team so far through 5 ends, just not really getting the payoff. Got that steal of 2 in the second end, but both in the fourth end and this one here, not able to take full advantage of their good setup. Straw looking good though from Rumyantseva. Right onto the forfeit, a single point. So it is Russia to take the lead coming into halftime. Close game. It's 3 shots to 2. Teams will have a small break before coming back onto the ice for the sixth end and second half.
こうどうしても強弱強弱になっちゃうからマッチングが悪いかなっていう話もちょっと出てて。
特にはない。私自身が感じないだけかもしれない。1投目が強くて2投目が弱いですね。多い。順番は変わってないです。じゃあ石が
石のマッチングがずれてるかもしれないからちょっと変えるかな。
誰と変える？そしたら。私今あれ速いやつとか投げてる。
ウェッティが欲しい。何がいいですか？それか意識したい方を前に持ってった方がいいと思う。ああ、了解です。
先に今2番目に投げてる人を先に投げて。
今何投げてたっけ？2投げてる。2、3で最初に投げてる。2番5、6か。
5、6投げて6、5でちょっと投げてみた方がいいかもしれないね。
どういうこと？なんかエリのストーンが1投目がちょっと
速くて2投目。
Здорово. И щетку подобрали, и вес хороший кинули. Да. Да, если бы раскрылись, было бы даже, может быть, интереснее. То есть, если бы она привозила бы глубоко, можно было и дабл сыграть. И в третьем энде можно было твоим первым играть хит. То есть, когда ты гард везла, можно было сразу решать. Пускай она...
Вторым нравилось играть еще раз?
Second end, Japan in some bother, flying 3 against. Minori Suzuki having to draw the side of the forefoot, trying to cut Russia down to 1, just slipping a few inches too far. Russia steals 2. And the third end, Japan lying 1. Really tough to get in there for the second point, but they certainly tried, Team Japan. Couldn't quite get there, so just 1 point for the Japanese. Moving into the fourth end, Japan putting their last stone on the button. Russia trying to come off their own yellow onto the red, which they do, but it jams. Japan steals 1. And with the single point in the fifth end, it is Russia to lead Japan by 1. Elsewhere, Latvia really giving it to Hungary. 8-2 the score. Sweden, Denmark, that's a close one. Just a 1 point lead for Sweden. Switzerland is up 4-1 on Canada, while Korea leading Norway 4-3. Taking a look at the stats, we do see Russia outshooting Japan by 10%, and that's probably pretty accurate. Russia has perhaps been the better team, just not quite finishing off the last couple of ends. we're halfway there.
間違えた、2点だった。2点で1点でもいいよ。
Я думаю, что сейчас может ехать даже чуть-чуть лучше. Пошли? Просто даже не обсудили.
Japan and Russia back onto the ice for the sixth end. We're halfway through this evening game here in Krasnoyarsk, Russia. It's World Junior Curling Championships 2020 action live. Russia up by 1. So a very close game through the first 5 ends. Japan with last stone here in the 6th. And when Russia puts up a center guard, we have seen Japan just draw to the open side, staying consistent with that approach. Anastasia Mishenka, lead for Russia, putting the center guard in place. And then the skip of Japan, who's also lead, Sai Yamamoto, will try and put this on the wing, joins in the sweeping herself. So she's half front end, half skip.
It's interesting that they put that in the open wing. We've really not seen them put up their corners and really go for their twos with the hammer.
Isn't that something we noticed this morning as well, and the game they lost? They were needing to try and win the game in the end, and somehow they just played pretty defensively.
Yeah, they were needing 2 with a hammer to win the 10th end, and you know, opposition put it top 4, and Japan just hit it. They even attempt to put up a corner, so they're really relying on the opposition to make a mistake rather than playing to win.
It was Denmark they lost to. Dane's looking really strong this week. They're currently playing Sweden. A neighborly battle over there. Of course, Japan will have one themselves. They'll take on Korea. That's in 2 days. That could be a crucial game. A couple of tough opponents left for the Japanese after Russia here. Not only Korea, but Switzerland. They finish off against Hungary.
Japan qualified for this World Junior Championships through the B division. Those 3 teams came through. 19 teams had entered B qualifier, and only 3 qualify for here. So it's a tough road to get here. And this is where, when they've got last stone, hitting stones in the wing isn't really of benefit right now.
でいいんだよね。ゆりちゃん入っていいかも。10秒。今そんなにラインは悪くなかった。いやごめん。よかったありがとう。ナイスイート。
Well, off and on the sweep, rolls out. Russia
Sweep.
plays ahead.
Sweep.
The Redstone back 12.
Whoa. Sweep. Молодец.
Не можешь это вылетело, не сказала? А? Нет, спасибо. Какая-то черная точка. Не знаю.
I can't quite see how Japan's going to score 2 here with this approach.
If the guard is too high and not really good to come around, they could be freezing stones in the back right now. And sometimes you might see this tactic if they want to blank the end and go into the even end, having the hammer, but at the sixth end, it's a great opportunity to go for your 2 here. So we say you've got to play to win the game. You just can't rely on opposition making errors.
Japan so far this week only sitting at a 25% last stone efficiency, which means when they score with hammer, only 25% of those scores are multiple scores, which is really low. That's one of the lowest in the competition. On the other side of the scale, Korea is up with 71% last stone efficiency, which is incredible. So certainly perhaps needing to work on their last stone game.
The new 5 rock free guard zone, it's a great opportunity to build up heads and build up these multiple scores. Quite uncharacteristic for a Japanese team to play this way.
They have been pretty good at stealing ends, though. They've stolen 10 ends. That's just as many as Korea, so they're tied for most stolen ends this week before this session. So perhaps a team better without the hammer than with, so just keeping things open, making sure they score when they have hammer, and hoping they can steal a few points along the way. It's an interesting approach.
Можно попробовать внутрь поймать ролл.
But also, on the other hand, if you're Russia, you're more than happy that that's how they're playing against you. They would love to force one here.
Down to Japanese last 2 stones here. If they're ever going to score 2. I think they need to draw here. Still hitting.
I mean, they've not played any of the end to try for their 2. There were opportunities earlier on to draw or freeze. Chose to hit throughout. So what is their game plan coming into this 6th end? They've just had the 5th end break. They've talked to their coach. So they must have had their game plan coming into this with a hammer.
Japan do have the most blanks as well this week, which makes sense given the open play. But it's surprising though is it's only 4 blank ends, meaning there's barely been any blank ends in at least in the women's competition this week. So that 5-rock rule certainly helping that. So that's good for the sport. Nobody likes to see blank ends, stones just running up and down the sheet. I'd like to see scores. And unless Russia rolls out here, I think we'll see a score in the 6th end. Trying for the roll in. Only rolls halfway. Leaves a nose hit for Suzuki.
А вес чуть больше было?
47. 45, да, 47. Молодец.
Very important when you play an end this way that you do execute the last stone. Feels a bit wasteful to play in whole end without trying to score 2 and then not even get your 1, but the shooter will sit in time. So Japan, they do get their single point to tie the game at 3 each after 6. 4 ends to go.
Просто Винсент...
それは知ってるけど改めて言ったな。
普通にだからセット強いと危ない。
でもさ、結構さ、伸びないって言ってるけどさ、 4.3 とかで来るんだよ。
変わってない。エリのあれもそうだったし。
だから2半3でいいかな。ウェイトじゃない、タイムいいよ。2半3で。ないわ。5、4。まだよ。まだ。3とかいった。伸びてるよ。入ります。ちょっと曲げたいよ。ファイト。ファイト。よ。ナイス。ナイス。15.8。ナイスコー、ナイス。
Девочки, возвращайтесь. Он валит очень, если что. Повыше! Поднять. Свип!
Japan
Да.
coming into the house. So Russia will play the hit. I think Russia might consider blanking here.
Yeah, 7th end. Russia quite happy the way the scoreboard is. Go for their 2 at 8. Score at 10 and just let Japan score at 9.
Yeah, the thinking is 2 odd ends left, 2 even ends left. Russia blanked the 7th. You're essentially making it a 3-end game. And now you might be scoring twice when the 2 even ends left, 8 and 10, only allowing Japan to score in end number 9. So it would be a big advantage for Russia to do so. That's why it's so surprising to see Japan come into the house, but then again, seeing the defensive nature of their tactical approach earlier in the game, it's perhaps less surprising than if it was another team. Still a learning curve. You don't always get to play 2 hits as lead, but Anastasia Mishenka will do so. Rolls out. I don't think that's a big problem for Russia.
Japan now have called for a guard.
Perhaps just realizing what's happening here. But of course, the free guard zone no longer in play.
I think it's going to slide into the rings anyway.
Important to stay focused though. Still in an open end like this, one mistake and the end can turn on its head here. Consistent numbers from Irina Rizanova, playing up to her average for the week. Doing much better than this morning. The whole Russian team are. And just a lot more smiling. I think they're puzzled a little bit, the Russian team, playing this Japanese side, scratching their head a bit.
Yeah, they will be surprised at these tactics. But to be honest, you know, they've had 5 games already in this tournament, and I'm surprised the coaches aren't discussing the tactical side with the youngsters. It is their first time in the world stage, and it is a big learning curve. You can see maybe the first or second game of a championship where you're settling in, you're still nervous, you just want to keep it fairly open and straightforward, but not by the 6th game of the tournament.
It's been a while since the World Junior Championships made its way to Japan. You have to go all the way back to 1997, the test event for the Olympic Games, the very first, hosted in Nagano. Of course, for the historian out there, the 1924 Olympic Games was retroactively made official in 2006, but I think most curlers will recognize the Nagano Olympics as the first big Olympic Games, seeing how the 1924 one only included 3 nations: UK, Sweden and France. One of the UK players played the silver medal game for Sweden, so actually has gold and silver for playing for 2 different nations. And it's official now, so a bit peculiar. It was Julia. Is it Evert? Ewart? Ewart. There you go. Who won back then in Karuizawa in '97.
Контрол! Свип! Отлично! Поднять. Свип! 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 Можно. Да.
So, still just trading hits.
The only other time you would see an end like this, where it is very open, is if teams were very short on time. But I don't think that's an issue right now.
They are being quite quick though, so thinking no need to mess about, might as well bank a bit of clock. Now, when you play an end like this, and you are the skip, especially if you're the Russian skip here, are you ever at all nervous, waiting for that last stone, knowing you play the whole end for the blank, really not wanting to mess up on your last one?
No, skip never thinks like that. But so often we do see the skip going for the blank and end up nosing and taking their one. But no, you've got to think, going for the blank.
Очень прямо идет.
Надо, чтобы подсел. Тогда ждем. Пока бэклайн. Нет, будет вес.
Садись.
Стой. Нет. Быстро проверни. Молодец.
Finds the back 12. It's actually a pretty good spot for it. This means it's hard for Japan to actually hit that and stick around. Not much to roll to. Perfect spot. Suzuki will try to hang around. Want to force a shot from Russia here, but I think this one's hanging wide. Will actually roll out, so no pressure at all. On the last shot here, and we will see Russia just throwing this one through. We'll be interested to see if the locals coming into the arena will realize what's actually happening here, of course. And luckily they're listening to the Russian commentary being made, so it will be explained to them. Russia very happy to throw the stone through, blank the end, and carry last stone advantage into the 8th end. Score still the same. Tied game, 3 each.
3.5 後半でも良さそう。結構伸びてる。
前だよね。前ね。2本。6。1本でいいよ。ちょっと遠いよ。2でもいいよ。いいよ。いいよ。ちょっとね、いつもより外通るよ。ちょっと外。いいよ。ちょっと曲がりやすいよ。
There we go, Team Japan, first stone of the 8th end. They will throw the center guard this time. When they didn't throw the center guard in the 7th end, but they are throwing it now. If I was going to choose, I would maybe swap that around.
Yeah, but that's good. We have a guard in play. A good start to this end. And Russia also putting up a corner guard. They want to try and score their 2 here.
Воу, Вера,
Yeah, even scoring just the one,
Молодец.
if they can force Japan to score a single in 9. Tied game, and they're coming home with a hammer. And of course, scoring 2, they're in great shape.
Yeah, I'd like to see Japan put up a second centre guard here. Really take advantage of the free guard zone.
I think you're asking a bit much.
Okay.
Also drawing on the intern here.
Yeah, ideally they would come down the other side, so if you're showing any of the stone, it's not a easy hit and roll for Russia behind their corner.
You see Sai Yamamoto playing really well at lead.
Свип! Свип! Да! Да! Свип! Свип!
Anastasia Nishenka chasing Japanese counter. Well, over curl, was hoping to roll in behind the corner, but will sit right there. Might see a battle of the rolls here. First team to make a roll in behind cover. Comparisons at second. Hyugi Ueno. Not her best game this evening. While Irina Bizanova really stepping up after a tough performance this morning. Will roll. I want to hang on here. Oh, just going to roll out. Just too far. Real good attempt.
Looking at it heavy. Will it stop? Straight through. Big mistake there from Japan. They could even afford to be short there, give themselves more cover.
Yeah, still some struggles for Ueno.
Ну что такое?
Тихо, стой.
This is looking pretty steamy as well.
Хорошо.
Dear, what's happening? Mistakes creeping in from both sides here. It's the 8th end of the game. It's a key point.
Keep drawing on the intern here, Japan. Pretty textbook curling. Come the other way. So definitely a few pointers to be taken up for the team. But this one is curling quite nicely. And around, actually going to pop out the other side. Slipping a bit deep to the back 8 foot. You see Eri Ogiwara playing 61%. Tuliakova having a good game this evening.
Japanese coaches will be videoing the game, and in the debrief after the game they'll show the players some tactical situations and look at different options.
Воу, легче, легче.
Свип. Воу.
Можно сам. 4 сам. Сам.
Ждать, ждать, ждать.
Сам до конца. Сам до конца. Давай.
Pretty good weight. Sits partially open. Eri Ogiwara. Don't have to move the sail very far. Could just dead freeze it. Pointing up in the air, calling this a little heavy. Trying to go for curl. Just coming up heavy and bouncing right off of it. There's a couple of games who's come to a close here. Korea will pick up a win on Norway, 9-3. I believe Sweden and Denmark just shaking hands as well. Sweden's stealing a 2, so that game is over. Elsewhere, Latvia really in control over Hungary, 9-3. Also, Switzerland leading Canada 4-3. So just 3 games left out there, and Russia calling a timeout. Andrei Rostov will make his way onto the ice.
Ну, очевидно, наверное, надо все-таки играть самим, чтобы они фриз не повезли, потому что ударишь стей или ролл поймаешь туда. Ну, если стей бить, то она, скорее всего, будет ролл играть. Может, ее попробовать на этом поймать, но мало ли поймает, то мы уже, да, они потом могут привести.
А я думаю, что они сами потом полезут ролл играть.
От своего?
Да.
Типа боишься, что потом не выскривимся?
Да.
Мне кажется, стоит рискнуть. Она только что бросала, и мне кажется, по тому же треку можно попробовать привести.
Просто какое задание мы им оставляем на выполнение, получается. Мы должны оставить им сложное.
У тебя пятак сверху будет открыт. Это не очень хорошо.
Смотри,
Самой,
вот так,
вот сюда,
или
2.
если вот так?
Нет, мне кажется, туда
Лучше,
надо.
да, сделай второй ближе, просто 4 полные.
Ага.
Если что, под атаку останется.
Ага.
So looking at 2 options here. Team Russia. Could just draw there. They're lying shot stone. Just draw top 4.
Хороший был вес. Да, сейчас супер вес был.
I believe they were also just talking about a hit and roll. Just seems easier to maybe place the stone with a draw. But of course, also knowing that Japan could actually come off their own red stone on the tail end. So I think the question there as well. They'd love to come top 4. At the same time, that red stone might be a bit of a worry. But if you play the hits, then you might leave the freeze for Japan. So I think they're just going to try and get there first, top 4.
Аккуратно. Надо. Делайте.
Давай, да.
Putting it there, Japan do decide to come off the red, then that yellow is very usable.
Very good draw by Tuliakova.
Yeah, really nice.
А сколько сейчас? 0. Отлично.
So played in turns down all end, and now having to go for the out-turn draw.
Молодец.
ついた方がいいのかな。きっちりつけたい。まあ6とかでも悪くないよ。
1半。ちょっと伸びるかな。
1半がベストかな。
どっちやろう。
1だと早すぎるし、2だとちょっと遅すぎる。
Freeze is open on the out-turn draw. might have the chance to come off that red stone on their last as well. Saving that for later. Try and lock it on. Looking pretty close here. Just need to get past the top yellow. Real close here. And that is one good draw by Suzuki.
Really unlucky that it didn't freeze it, and slight bump.
Maybe a few licks too many on the brush, but I mean, that's nitpicking.
It just makes this double easier though, because there is a gap. But yes, still very good shot.
So it's Russia to be able to come off that red stone on the tee line.
Да, попробуем. С другим вращением.
Big shot here. Russia has been looking for the payoff all game.
Сип! 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 Вау! Сип! Да! 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 Вау! Сип! Да! Да! Да!
Off the red, onto the second. And we'll push it far enough for Russia to lie 3.
And the crowd enjoyed that one.
Very much so. We see Vlada Romantsova playing a much better game this evening as well. Minori Suzuki, she's up there. She's made some really key shots. And she's going to have to make one more here. We said Russia would have a massive advantage if they could score a 2 here. And of course, a 3 or 4 would perhaps be the game. So Suzuki will need to replicate the first draw. Get it right in there. Ueno, Ogiwara trying to drag it for their 4th player. Having to bring this as far as they can. Have they pulled the strings? I think they have. It's not going to get there. Russia lie 3. They will have the draw to score 4. Russia will certainly get the payoff this time. Suzuki not able to have Japan wiggle out of this end too.
Давайте я послабее сделаю лучше.
Давай. С плюсиком тоже делаю. Ты попробуй 1.
Там надо просто...
1 это самый максимум.
4 фута, да.
Да.
Если что, скажи.
Хорошо.
Last stone, 8th end. Team Russia.
Вес.
Есть
Нас
вес.
можно на подушку, если что. Ира, пока вес. Легко. 4 фута.
Looking to more than double their score so far in the game.
Ждем. Нельзя. Ждем. Подальше побольше. Нет, супер.
Looking pretty good here. And this stone will settle on the forfeit. 4 points for Russia. 7-3, they lead. That is massive.
Хороший было 2 броска последних. Можно себе позволить.
Скажи.
Можно. Да.
Подожди. Похож на 4. Нет, поднять. Чуть за бока. Надо, чтобы садился. Сам пока идет. Очень прям.
Это пока 6.
И это пока бэклайн.
Даже бэклайн, да.
Что это, он перестал валить?
Что-то он перестал валить, да, и садиться.
Спасибо.
Что ты сейчас вообще не садился?
Japan, Russia, in the Crystal Ice Arena here in Krasnoyarsk, Russia.
6半で良さそう。
It's a 7-3 game. The Russian side scoring a massive 4 in the 8th end now with the upper hand.
いいよ、置いていいよ。ちょっと見ちゃおうか。いいよ、置いていいよ。
Mishenka throwing through the house on her first. Not the worst time to do that, but still a few too many draws through the house for Russia today,
ちょっと曲げたい。
if you include the morning.
あ、ナイス。ナイスよ。ナイスコ
And
ール。
finally a corner guard up from Japan. Haven't seen that all game. Certainly is the time to employ that tactical approach,
Пока 12.
but perhaps too late.
Точно?
Воу-воу-воу. Нет,
6
легче,
футов.
легче.
4 фута. 6 футов.
Очень прямо идет.
6, 4.
Только Вера.
4 фута.
Вера, Вера, Вера.
Давай.
Давай, 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 давай.
Молодец.
Спасибо.
いった
前でやって
前でもいいよ。
さっきのが 4.5 で伸びづらそうだった。
いいよ、いいよ。
膨らめ。
ちょっと曲がりに来るかも。
コロケ。
オッケー、コーロッケー。
ラインはまだ。
エリでいいよ。エリでいいよ。コーロッケー。あ、
おー、やば。
いや、曲がってるよ、曲がってるよ。
曲げたい。
近くまで、近くまで、近くまで。あ、ナイス、ごめん。
あ、ナイス。ナイスよ。
Gets a second corner guard in play.
ナイスコール。ナイス。
Если что, можно гард.
Фриц! Настя, всегда налегко. Фриц!
Полегче.
Фриц! Контакт маленький! Фриц! Нет, контакт. Можно подождать. Фриц идет.
Давай, Настя, 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 можно, 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 можно. Да, 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 да. Свип! Свип!
Молодец.
Yep, nice. Well placed, 2 stones above T-line. I think 4 down, you don't really want to be hitting here. You can either come round your corner or just tap on these. Try and keep the angle.
Nice ятти.
Сближать их не хочется, давай контроль.
Can't falter mood, Team Japan.
Чтобы ошибка была в эту.
We did say earlier on that a good team, you should never know whether they're winning or losing just by looking at their body language, and that's certainly true of this team. They haven't changed their body language at all throughout the game. Still as upbeat as they were the very first end.
Yeah, so they have great attitude.
Пойдет.
Technically, they're very sound. Making quite a lot of shots, perhaps a bit less this evening, but winning 4 games so far. They've been doing many things right, but certainly they have a little bit to work on the tactical aspects to really make full use of their talent. You can make as many shots as you wish, but if you make the wrong shots, you're not going to get very far. And here's another example. Japan really can't afford to roll out there. Much better off drawing or playing a much softer weight to make sure that all red rocks stick around, making things very easy for Russia here.
Можно поднять.
Есть, Бил.
Хорошо. Ты говоришь, что есть.
Я просто сама не поняла. Я сама не поняла. Вот Вера сказала, я увидела.
Молодец.
Gets a tiny tap up on their own red, but they're quite grouped. Russia have a chance to make a double.
Давай попробуем так. Если что, можно стоять, чтобы вот этот из дома точно улетал.
Да, вот так.
These will make sure that the multiple end for Japan is looking pretty slim. Just on the high side, only removes one.
That really is good enough, though. Take one at a time here, Russia, and they'll win the game.
Да, мне тоже. С этой стороны, да, надо было.
Japan will hit. So they do lie too.
Можно их сблизить.
Да.
Давай контрол.
Right now, Russia wouldn't be fazed if they did lose a 2 here. They're still 2 up with the hammer coming home.
Контрол.
Контрол.
Можно поднять.
Поднять можно.
Супер вес.
Настя. Да, вали.
О, оставь.
Да. Молодец.
Я уже думала оставить с той стороны, потому что она тогда била 2 раза. Я потеряла шутер.
Блин, мне кажется, надо было маленький.
Окей.
1点半、1.9後半時
will make the hit and stay. Suzuki
Nice score. Nice.
looking pretty good for their two.
Nice. 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 Nice.
That would put them within reach. Not impossible to steal a two. Definitely hard, but you do see it happen. Krasnoyarsk. Look for the hit. See if they can maybe even make the roll here. Won't quite roll all the way across.
Но он просто хорошо подвалил, что я уже хотела ролл сыграть.
В плане, если бы ты оставила стейм, было бы сложнее.
Не факт.
Там ее меньше, если она делает небольшой плюс, у нее больше шансов, что...
Хорошо, смотри, почти получился ролл. Ей бы пришлось вообще с той стороны бить.
And there we go, 2 points for Japan. Well hit and stick, Suzuki. So one more end to play. Japan needs to seal two for the extra. Russia in front.
出ちゃうのように気をつけるね。どうする？深呼吸する？30秒ある。いや時間もあるからしよう。2でいいのかいこれは。2必須っていう感じでいいのかい。2取ればいいって感じでいい。3、オッケー。だって3もスチールは欲張りすぎる。後半かな。後半？うん。6でもいいよ。6に。ちょっと曲がりやすい。ちょっとなんかな。1になりそう？いやそれはない。ちょっと曲がりやすいよ。そこまではいく。いや曲がりやすいからさ。曲げない方がいい。曲げない方がいい。曲げない方がいい。
One more end of play as Japan take on home favorites Russia. The Russians are up by 2. They do have the last stone. Japan needing to steal a couple. We're not going to see the tech shot here from Russia. Maybe thinking the guard sits about halfway. It'd be hard for the Japanese to place a second guard without leaving a double.
Стой.
Не, будет, дочь.
Умница.
Спасибо. Супер, найс.
Sometimes when your opponent needing to steal 2 or more, you might not want to make that tick shot, leave lots of corner guards for them to come around. So usually you try and load up the forfeit, but if you're needing to steal big, another option is to just try and load up the house as much as you can, leave an open draw and just hope for a mistake.
You need to get the 2 guards up though when it is a free guard zone.
Yeah, I think it's still worth putting up another center guard.
Because if you're Russia, you'll be delighted if you see this one come into the rings. It's less cover out front for you to worry about.
And if they can't bury here, Russia will be able to chase it. And it will not curl enough, so that's it. Very much in the open for Team Russia. They'll be chuffed to have a chance to get at it.
こっちがきつすぎちゃった。あ、ごめんなさい。
Не должен, надо толсто
Мне
попасть.
нравится оставить его выше, не дать им возможность перефризоваться.
Вам нравится стей?
Ну, вообще это прикольно, да.
Просто
Можно стей,
они-то
можно
туда все равно
сюда.
еще повезут. Вот мне нравится стей чуть-чуть.
Давай, стей с ошибкой в ролл. Давай,
давай.
Борь.
Какой вес?
Japan just making this quite easy for Russia here.
Nose hit or tiny roll. That's what they want here, Russia.
Свип.
Нет, не держи, подними.
Just roll on top of their own heel,
Ничего, ничего.
potentially.
Ира. Ладно,
Давай просто пил.
They will roll away, however, also fine.
Yeah, they're more than happy to not hang about, because if there is stones in the head, Japan can use them to their advantage. So when you're two up with the hammer, you want things clean and simple.
どっからどこ？3から6ぐらい。
半分隠れるなら5でもいい。
何がベスト？
何がベスト？
6じゃったら6だ。
いいよ。
いや、ウェイトはいいわ。6、7。
さっきのサイちゃんと同じ。ちょっとね、それよりはダウン。
いやー、いくわ。下げる？
いやボディ。
Just slips back again.
ごめん
I'm
な
sure
さ
Russia,
い。
even taking the guard here, they've been more than happy to open it up.
あ、ごめん、サイちゃん、ナイス。
See Team Italy, men coming in, as well as some of the other teams to catch the last couple of ends of the session, of course. Also waiting for late night practice. After this session is over, all the teams will be out. Mostly the alternates and coaches to come on and match stones.
It's not late night practice, evening practice.
I find it to be quite late.
It's only 25 past 9 here.
でも今まださ、ハウスの中入れるのちょっと
Well,
早くない？
speaking from experience, when you're
ハウスは
about to go out there and match stones, you're quite happy to catch the last piece of the action. At the same time, you don't necessarily want an extra end and have it become a very late night. Mitsuki Sato comes out for the timeout for Team Japan.
もう少し前にストーン溜めとかないと、この時点でくっつけちゃうともうパーンってやられたら全部終わっちゃうから。
どこがベスト？2じゃん。2半。どこまでガードを置いて切り替えればいいですか
2点は必須で取らなきゃいけないからね。エリの1投目2投目の辺が多分ギリギリのラインだと思うよ。
この辺がなんか迷って攻めるところのタイミングでも相手も多分どっかでいじってくるから、それより先にいじんなきゃ意味ないね。
相手につけられると終わりだもんね。
サードの2投目ぐらい
そのが我慢してもいいと思うよ。それぐらいまでサードの2投目ぐらいまでは
前置いて、2の1投目ぐらいで、
大丈
はい、OK。よし。じゃあここがベストってこと？そうだね。こっちから行っていい？あ、いいよ。
赤を絶対隠さなきゃいけないってことだよね。
そうだね。このライン上には欲しい。
I don't speak
同じ
much
幅でいくよ。
Japanese, Rona. I think I heard them say ni
そう、私。
quite a few times, which would be 2 in Japanese, which would be a halfway guard.
ちょっとめっちゃ早かったら言ってほしい。止める
It
ことは
goes
できるけどね。
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
あ、
7,
話す前にってこと？
あ、そうそう。
さっき13
something like that.
あ、ゆうちゃん
Very
ごめん。
impressive,
曲が
Sam.
る。
So you'll
遅い
see
と曲がるからちょっと取っとくわ。その方がいい
Japanese
と思う。あり
teams
が
quite
とう。
often call out numbers, just like
しとくねとりあえずは。
most other
めっちゃ遅くけどね。
teams in terms of how they call weight. So 1, 2, and 3 being guards, 4 being top 12, and then 4 through 10 is being in the house, really. So let's see if they do play a halfway guard. They're on the sweep early.
Yeah, you need to put up the guard here and just try and force an error out of Russia.
結構遠いよ。いいよいいよ。一半。
Oh, working this really hard.
あ、ナイス。
They do get the
ごめん、ナイスコール、
guard
ナ
in
イス。
place.
18.86。
More of a one guard, but Russia will peel anyway.
Свип.
Есть.
Воу. Легко. Молодец.
Молодец. だから結構大丈夫かもね。
So the guard again. Russia peels
ラインだ
again.
け。
What's the move Japan is going to have to make, and when?
Yeah, I think they should be putting up a couple of guards more, and then they will come in because they've got to leave Russia the hardest shot that's going to jam and leave them line 2. It's different when you have to try and steal a 1, but to steal 2 with no cover out front right now.
ちょっと曲がりそう最後。一半に二半あるよ。二半。
I think Japan will just
Nice
keep
hit.
guarding,
ナイスショー、ナイスコール。エロリとメモが。
and they could wait till their last stone to come in.
する？
To try and freeze that Yellowstone on the forfeit.
Легко.
Yes.
Есть пил.
Yep, they can half check it so that Russia can't remove it without jamming, and they can't get to the back red because the one that's half checking will guard that.
1枚取った。オッケ
So a straight freeze on top, then the back red would be open, whereas a half check would make it harder for Russia to move.
ー。3。いいよ。ちょっと近いよ。3。いいだけ。2。ちょっとねやっぱね曲がりきれそう。2。オフでいいよ。3。オフでいいよ。3かな。2半3。オフでいいよ。3。クリーンクリーン。ナイス。ナイスよ。ナイスコール。ナイス。
ナイスガードだね。ナイスジャッジ。
Telyakova calling off the
Есть
sweepers.
пил.
Молодец.
Господи, я испугалась.
Catch a piece, and that's good enough. Peels the guard.
Что пугаешь?
Now Japan looking to freeze that yellow.
Но он просто стал чуть-чуть отходить.
もうここでやってもいいと思う。やってるね。
やるって
ここは
何やる？
どうですか？
いいと思います。
最悪曲がんなかったらここまで。
いや、そっちはダメ。それだったらこっちに縦の方がいい。
まあつけるならいやでもこっちなら絶対縦じゃなきゃダメだよね。
うん。そうだね。縦よりちょっと内側につく分にはいいかな。
でもコツンってなるよりは弱くてここら辺でもいいよね。
そうだね。弱いならちょっとここにかぶせた。
なんかずれてこっちはダメだよね。こっちだよね。
I think regardless what Japan do, Russia are more than happy it's wide open, and they will just blast it and spread it all about and give themselves options with their last stone.
マジは前だけどこんなあでも
その前は絶対ないかな。
でも遅かったらもうこれ隠さなきゃダメ。
その前だったらこっちの前に来ないとダメ。
うん
あ、オッケーオッケーオッケー。でも多分それだと曲がりすぎちゃうから、幅的にこっちに行くつもりだから。
If you want to try and freeze the yellow as much as you can, if you just put it dead on the nose, then Russia would peel the open shot stone, and you can come down, tap it back on an angle where the yellows would jam.
4.1 がベストで1半でスイープ伸ばせばいくよみたいな感じ。
You just come half checked or a third overlapped. It'd be very easy for Russia to just peel it out, and then they'll be left an open hit for the win. Either way, it's a pretty tough shot to make. Don't want to bounce. Just want to glue it on. What do they have here? Oh, that's really good effort. Really good.
Yep, really nice there.
Suzuki's made some good shots tonight. So decision time for Russia. Which one do they opt for? That just let a few more inches. It'd be harder for Russia to remove. What they're hoping for here is Russia to now try and peel that red over curl, jam it, and leave the red sitting in the house, and play ahead and perhaps lie 3.
I think we'll see big weight here. She'll be happy to split both of these out and the shooter.
You can even miss the red stone altogether. You'll catch your own yellow and angle it back onto the red. So pretty much anything high side here. I wonder if that might be plan B here. Oh no, it goes past everything. Wow.
Silence the crowd.
Wow, so Japan now with a pretty good chance of piling on the pressure.
Yeah, they only need to tap the yellow back to back 8 foot. Leave that plant on the 2 reds, and then the top red will slightly guard the red shot. The drama continues.
Yeah, we thought it was over when Russia scored their 4. On a deuce on the board and 9. No chance for Japan to lie 3.
Yeah, they don't need to hit it. They only need to just tap the yellow back, leave it as a catcher.
They'll
be wishing they still had their time out.
A プランどっちにしてこれさここに咲くんじゃんステイだとそうするとここよりは出なきゃいけないからここまでは下げたいそうちょっと隠れてる
They have the right idea here, Yamamoto.
ステイでいいかノーズがいいなんしたらマージンどれぐらいここまでしっかり下げるならでもさいきなりバックラインとかいやウェイト普通にさ9とかでも10とかでもいいんじゃないのそんな気はするここら辺やってる10秒
Sit frozen.
こっちからセンター越すのノーズならこっちにする10秒11でもいいけど
Sure about the weight call here, though.
遅いマージンと速いマージンだったらどっちがいい遅いマージンそれだったら幅取って遅い方がいいわあー OK
Really did seem like
外側には当てた
Skip
くないよね
Yamamoto wanted to play just back ring weight, tap it, maybe Minori Suzuki not feeling too comfortable playing that shot. She wants to play bigger weight. Just like you say, Ron, after they leave that yellow on the back of the house, it could be a potential jam. If you remove the yellow altogether, anything Russia hits will leave the house for sure, meaning they won't be able to steal 3. Still steal 2 though. They're playing the hit. Let's see what they lead Russia here. Last stone for Japan. in N10. They play that really well. So, how does that line up? Play that, I think, as good as she could do it.
Well, certainly asking the question now of Russia.
She won't feel too comfortable or confident either after just flashing the first one.
Этот надо чуть туда.
Got a really good line on the top two reds here, Japan.
В какой нам край попадать?
Если бы по-нормальному мы должны попадать в этот, и он бы пошел бы сюда. Но тут мы должны попадать вот в этот.
Короче, с этой
She just
стороны
needs to
надо.
catch that one at an angle.
Ага. Нам надо
Top one will
попасть
go
вот
and the
сюда.
back one can go. The middle one may jam, but that's okay. She can afford to lose a one.
Might get the middle one going as well. If there's a tiny bit of drag on here, when the stones are close
Я не
together.
слышу.
The second stone kind of pulls the same direction as the first one. So you can see the middle rock actually pull a bit to the right. She catches it, let's say a third here. Big weight. Last stone, anyway, for Lada. Ryumantseva flashed the first one on the outer, now throwing the in.
Whoa!
Calling the sweepers off. Looks pretty close here for Russia. Needs to kill two of the reds, and they do. They actually all go. A triple for the win. Clears the house. The blank 10th end is good enough for Russia. They win 7-5. Much better performance tonight. They really needed that as well after losing the last two games. Good
Это специально,
performance.
чтобы вы понервничали.
So back on a potential winning streak, Team Russia, as they would so love to grab a spot in the playoffs to play more games in front of home fans. For Japan, that's 2 losses today. After having won the first 4, they're going to have to regroup as well if they want to make it to the playoff stages and play on the weekend. Let's take a look elsewhere in the Crystal Ice Arena this evening. Latvia picks up a win on Hungary, 11-3. Sweden with a win on Denmark, 9-2. We can see that the only game left out there is Canada playing Switzerland. It's the Canadians with last stone. They're 1 down. Of course, we saw Russia pick up the win on Japan. Also Korea, they are now still perfect, won all their games, beating Norway 9-3, so they sit on top at 6-0. Canada, they follow closely at 4-1. Denmark, Japan now at 4-2, alongside Russia. Switzerland, Latvia and Sweden all on 2 wins. Norway on 1-5. Hungary at 0-6. Eighth end. Japan coming up short on a draw, leaves a chance for Russia to get in there and score 4. The Russians more than double their score and puts them 4 points ahead. In the 9th end, Russia happy to play defensive and give Japan a score of 2. Suzuki making no mistakes on her last stone. In the 10th end, Japan giving Russia a bit of bother, but Vlada Gimantseva making the triple on the last stone in the 10th end to clear house and close out the game. 7-5 final score, and an important win for Russia.
Вы усвоили драг-эффект.
Это специально, чтобы вы понервничали.
Congratulations. How important was it for you to get a win tonight after 2 losses back-to-back?
Поздравляю. Насколько важна была победа сегодня, особенно после поражений, которые случились до этого?
Я считаю, что поражения это были толчком для того, чтобы мы собрались и сыграли на столько процентов, насколько мы можем.
I really think those losses were like, for us, was like kind of a push to improve our game and to show that percentages and that stats that we actually can.
And what do you think you and your team did well tonight out there? What do you think you and your team did well out there tonight?
Что тебе кажется сегодня, ваша команда, в чем проявилась ваши сильные стороны, как вы сыграли, в чем отличие?
Ну, во-первых, игра была напряженной очень, и оба соперника были сильные, и мы шли в притирку. Но один энд, где мы сыграли очень хорошо, мои 2 последних броска помогли нам забрать 4 очка и выйти вперед.
The game was really, really tight all the way, but this one end when we score 4 was the big, and my shots was played really well, so it really, really helped us. So, but game was tight all the way.
How confident were you in the hack playing your last stone?
Последний бросок. Уверена была в нем?
Да, была уверена.
Yes, I was sure.
Well, many congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching the World Junior Curling Championships 2020 here in Krasnoyarsk, Siberia, Russia. And join us again for more curling action soon.